A contractor logs in at 2:13 a.m. from a country they have never used. The password is correct. MFA is accepted. 5 minutes later, that account opens a cloud folder it has never touched and starts pulling finance files. A basic rule might only see successful logins and file access. Nothing looks like malware. Nothing exploded. But a modern SOC stack, SIEM UEBA setup, sees the pattern. The SIEM sees the events. UEBA sees the behavior change. Together, they push one high-priority alert to the analyst. SIEM plus UEBA is a detection model where two lenses work on the same environment. The SIEM collects security events, normalizes them, correlates them, and creates alerts from known patterns. UEBA stands for User and Entity Behavior Analytics. It builds a baseline for users, service accounts, devices, and sometimes applications, then scores activity that looks unusual for that entity. In plain English, the SIEM asks, what happened across the systems? UEBA asks, is this normal for this person or device? In NIST-style terms, both support the detect function, and they feed respond by giving analysts better context and priority. Before this pairing, many SOCs lived in a flat alert world. Every failed login rule, firewall hit, endpoint alert, and cloud warning landed in the same pile. Analysts had to open 10 tools, copy timestamps by hand, and decide what mattered. Static rules helped, but they missed context. A login from a new location may be normal for a traveling sales lead. The same event for a finance contractor at 2 a.m. may be urgent. Without behavior context, the SOC either over-alerts and burns time or under-alerts and misses account misuse. SIEM plus UEBA reduces that guesswork. The mechanics are simple when you strip away the labels. First, logs flow into the SIEM. Identity events, endpoint alerts, cloud activity, VPN records, email signals, file access, DNS, and application logs. Second, those same events, or a clean subset, feed UEBA. UEBA learns patterns such as usual login hours, common locations, normal devices, typical data access, and peer group behavior. Third, UEBA assigns risk to users and entities when activity moves away from that baseline. Fourth, that risk score returns to the SIEM as enrichment. Now a SIEM rule can say, successful login plus sensitive file access plus high user risk equals a stronger alert. Finally, the SOC works one triage queue. Here is the end-to-end version. A contractor account authenticates successfully through the identity provider. The SIEM records the login, source region, device data, MFA result, and session details. On its own, the event is not enough. UEBA compares that session to the contractor baseline. This user normally connects from one city during business hours to one project workspace. This session is late, from a new region, and followed by access to finance folders outside the project scope. UEBA raises the user risk score. The SIEM correlation engine receives that score and joins it with cloud file logs and identity events. The alert title becomes Contractor Account with Abnormal Login and Sensitive Data Access. It lands near the top of the queue. The analyst reviews one case, confirms the pattern, disables the session, resets credentials, and notifies the account owner. The strength of SIEM plus UEBA is weak signal detection. It connects events that are boring alone but risky together. It also improves priority. A failed login for a low-risk user may stay low. The same event for a user with fresh anomalies can move up. But UEBA is not magic. Bad identity data creates bad baselines. Shared accounts confuse behavior models. New hires, role changes, travel, and reorganizations can create noise. The SIEM still needs good parsing, useful correlation rules, and same tuning. A risk score is not proof. It is a decision aid that helps analysts ask the right next question faster. In the defensive stack, SIEM is the central correlation and evidence layer. UEBA is the behavior analysis layer that feeds it. Identity tools provide authentication and account data. Endpoint tools provide process, device, and response signals. Cloud platforms provide control plane and data access logs. Network sensors add connection context. SOAR or case management may handle assignments, notifications, and repeatable response steps. The key design choice is not having analysts live in separate alert worlds. UEBA risk should enrich SIEM alerts. SIEM cases should show the behavior reason, not just a number. The analyst should see identity, endpoint, cloud, and behavior context in one place. Start smaller than the architecture diagram. First, make identity logs reliable. You mean successful logins, failed logins, MFA results, password changes, group changes, and session data. Second, map users to roles, departments, managers, and contractor status. UEBA depends on identity quality. Third, choose 3 use cases: account takeover, unusual privileged activity, and abnormal data access. Fourth, send UEBA risk back into SIEM correlation and create one queue for analysts. Fifth, tune every week. Track false positives, true positives, alert age, and escalation rate. Skills to build: log parsing, identity fundamentals, basic statistics, alert writing, and incident triage. Recap in 3 beats. 1. SIEM and UEBA should share a pipeline, not fight for analyst attention. 2. SIEM sees events across systems, while UEBA scores behavior for users and entities. 3. The win is one triage queue with better priorities and richer context. If you are starting from scratch, begin with identity telemetry, clean user mapping, and a few high-value account misuse detections. Then add behavior risk into SIEM correlation. That is how a modern SOC stack SIEM UEBA flow becomes useful. Subscribe for the next Security Tools Decoded episode. New episode daily, plus the daily ranked CVE brief on this channel.